You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Bar Rescue After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Bar Rescue After Show.
If you get in trouble, bring it home.
Wow.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Dorinda.
It's been so long,
It's been too long. I'm so excited to be back in studio.
I know. I'm happy to have you back, actually. I missed you a lot.
Oh, my God. And I miss being here. Of course, I still watched every episode of Bar Rescue the night it came out. No DVR, sitting through commercials because I'm just that excited to see the show. And as a testament, like everyone knows I'm a Breaking Bad junkie. And I am. And I'm upset I haven't been able to be in studio for that. But this show still takes precedence.
Oh, God. This show is so good. And each episode just gets better.
Yes.
Better.
So you love this episode?
I did. I love this. I really did love this episode. I thought it was great. And it was heartwarming in its own way. But also, I thought John and Todd, Todd, were going to go fisticuffs.
Yes. Yeah, I think we got to, moving forward, I think if I were John, I mean, he's a big guy. He's not afraid of anybody. But I swear I'd have security on set because it's just his tactic is, when he gets in your face and he yells and, you're a guy, it's just sometimes a guy instinct to want to go there, and this other guy's a Marine.
And obviously had a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I don't think I've seen since. Oh, wait, the other guy, the Israeli.
I've seen so many chips on shoulders on this show.
He was up there with that Ami guy.
He definitely was high. He was high.
Yeah,
but I've just seen so many of. I don't know what it is about opening a bar. I guess any business, right? I mean, these people they're stuck in their ways.
Yeah, and in anybody that's in it, not that I'm stereotyping, but it is true. Anybody who is in the armed services, is like my dad and other people I know that have been in the armed services, they follow a thing. They have to have a pattern in their life, like wake up at 6 o'clock every day, do this every day. Like,
okay, and that's fine. No, and by the way, that's great. That a lot of that works, but to me. So what are you saying? Is this guy had a bad pattern he was following?
He had a pattern that he was following, and I don't think anyone has ever really told him what he's been doing wrong. That's what I was getting, because John was telling him, and even the part where John walked in after the recon with the other 2 Marines and the woman, and he was like, well, I did this for the Navy. You don't have to tell me your resume. I already know.
Yeah, no, right. Stop.
Oh, this is not good.
Yeah. When do we get to you help me stuff? Like, enough of this, like, you hammering me, and let's just cut to the chase.
Meanwhile, I was excited to hear about this because I had no idea about John Taffer, him helping the Marines and redo their whole system for their bar program. I had no idea.
No, it's called humility, and it's also, I deal with a lot of people, even in our business, who want advice about, breaking into show business, whether it's acting, directing, producing, hosting. And, 23 years of doing it myself, that's the one thing I find is people go, yeah. Cut to the chase. Yeah. So in John's situation, it's yeah. Buy me my new jukebox, put in my new grills, and clean up my bar and give me a new sign and get the F out of here. And what I usually get, it's the same thing. Yeah. Can you just pass my script on to Harvey Weinstein? And it's effing annoying because what'll happen is I'm going to pass that script on to Harvey Weinstein, or I'm going to pass on your audition tape or your headshot, and because I didn't teach you any of the principles on how to really get that meeting or how to behave in that meeting or how to perform or whatever, you're going to fall flat in your face and lose your one shot. And so same with this. If I don't show you why you need a new grill, why your paint job's not working, why your sign's not working, why the way you have the entrance isn't. If I don't show you all that stuff, if I don't explain to you what you've been doing wrong, and I just make these changes, I'm not going to fix what's inside of you, and you're going to inevitably make all those mistakes all over again.
Yeah, and those same people always say, I didn't learn anything from this. This didn't do anything. Just get to the chase. You know what? No, you learn from everything you go into. And this man just didn't want to learn, and he thought his way was the best way, no matter what John Taffer was going to say to him. You know what? John Taffer's there because your bar's in the hole. You're $140,000 in debt. He's there for a reason.
Yeah.
So
it just, we'll get into the specifics, but it's if I didn't see it almost every week on this show, then I would be surprised. But it's always so damn frustrating. I found this bar to be interesting because I feel like it didn't need as much saving as other bars.
No, not as much.
And I think that's why we saw some other things like tours, and we got into some other areas we don't normally get into because I feel like it obviously needed improvement, but we've just seen worse, right?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be worse the moment we saw the cockroaches, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Right.
Which it was bad, but it could have been so much worse. Because we've seen other places that had cockroaches, but they also had bar rot on the floors. They had everything else. So cockroaches are awful, and that's, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of places, I thought. But there's so much. I mean, he knew about the cockroaches. That was the part that annoyed me, and didn't call an exterminator, blaming everybody else. But he knew about this problem. When you know about the problem, you get onto that problem.
At some point, I say to AFTERBUZZ too, it's painful, but when I see mistakes being made over and over again, I blame me ultimately because those people have to be replaced. Or I'm not educating them properly, whatever it is, at the end of the day, it comes down to you. It's your fault. You call, who on that crew was those two kids, the couple that, was in those two babies, they're going to call an exterminator? Like, really?
They're lucky that they can, stay from falling off a bar stool, which we saw.
So, why don't you just say, you know what, that falls on me? I don't know. Sometimes I just don't get people.
Well, there's a reason why the saying is it starts at the top.
Right.
And it always does, and it trickles down. So if the top isn't doing what they're supposed to do, how is the bottom supposed to learn from the top and to do what's asked of them and then some?
Right.
And that wasn't happening here. No. Even down to the manager, Kim, who didn't really do much of anything.
No, she was a mom.
Yeah, that's what she was.
She was so sweet to all.
She was. I'm not saying anything bad about her because I thought she was really nice.
She was great. And by the way, I've seen so many of those bosses.
Oh, yeah.
Like the sweet, you're right, who are like, oh, hi, Dorinda, are you tired? Okay. So many of those ones. Or I haven't had them that nice. I've had a lot of second grade teachers.
Oh, okay, yes.
As a fact, in one of the bars I worked at, I was a doorman. The manager, she was a second grade teacher. That's what she'd done before this, and that's exactly how she ran it. We were just a bunch of second grade kids, and I don't mean that in a good way. Like there's times where you need someone strict and stern, and you do need to babysit, second graders, but no.
Oh, I remember my second grade teacher, Mrs. Sakurka. I remember her.
So, right. So you get the whole, and it was just worrying about all the things a second grade teacher would worry about, but not the things that mattered.
Yeah. They weren't ever looking. It was more about the little things than the big things. Especially with the second grade teachers. They were just at the little things, keeping everybody in line.
All right. So let's start with, so it's obviously season 3, episode 7, Corking the Hole. Hilarious. Let's talk about the recon.
Okay. So they sent Mac and his friends in. Mac and Sam went in, and they go in. They ask for a shot, and she asked them, do you want something manly or girly? He says manly. They give him a shot, which has a piece of bacon in it. So I got excited because I love anything with bacon. And so I'm like, this is going to be awesome.
The waffle shot.
The waffle shot. And he took it. He's like, this is a girly shot. It looked like it had all sweet liqueurs, and I don't think it really had an base alcohol to it, like a base liquor to it. And he was like, well, that's not manly. Then they go over to, took over 25 minutes for them to get their food. Then they go, I know, I hate that. Then they go over to the punching bag game.
No, I know. And you know, it was great. The 3 guys he got, they were all in.
Oh, yeah.
To coin the
Yes.
phrase made popular on this show. But they were all in, as far as you could tell. They were drunk and they were punching. So it was great. They totally bit the bait that this place was feeding.
Yeah, and they go and they play this game, and one guy who isn't one of the crew, one of the recon crew goes in, he hits the thing so hard that, did you see his hand?
I am in pain.
That was disgusting.
I'm in pain thinking about, because I've done that before by accident, and I'm in pain thinking about how bad that hand hurt.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, you know, the second thing I went to is like, that guy's getting sued. Like, someone could sue him for that.
Absolutely.
And nobody went over to see if he was okay. I didn't see that part. Maybe they did in the cuts or anything. I didn't see that.
Well, you have an owner that is saying, oh, yeah, well, my bartender hits it harder than everybody. Go do it.
He says Jameson.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, Jameson.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's where your recon starts. And then John goes in there to talk to them.
You know what I liked about the recon?
What'd you like?
I liked when Jameson ran up and goes, he's here.
Exactly.
So I like that. I like the honesty the producers showed that. Normally it's, you know, they all wear their game faces. I like that they were like, wow, you know, that in comes the legend, and then they acknowledged it.
Exactly. And I think it was more like a kid. It was like a kid going, oh, God, he's here. It's almost like Santa Claus is here. He's here.
Yeah, right.
Which I really like.
And John, you know, tries to be nice, but, you know, he gets pushback right away.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, all of a sudden, he had the attitude. Instead of sitting there and listening at least for 5 minutes, wasn't even going to listen for 5 minutes. He was just going to go straight into not listening at all.
He admitted he was the one that called. You know, I called Bar Rescue, but I don't know. Just sometimes these guys are programmed this way. That it's that we've just seen it so many times on Bar Rescue, and I don't think it's necessarily producers casting. I don't think it's just guys with big egos who open businesses. I think the bar business itself, you're dealing with alcohol, you're dealing with a narcotic, you're dealing with women, power. There's just so many things at play here that you just get these megalomaniacs. I mean, you get them in the kitchen business too. We see that with Gordon Ramsay's show.
But it's different.
It's different. It's a one notch higher.
Yeah, it's one notch higher. And on top of that, even you have to wear this hard facade for whatever reason. You wear this, you know, armor around you. I know I did in the bar business for so long, because you don't want to be that close to a lot of people, especially your customers and stuff like that, because then they think they can get something from you. You feel everybody wants something from you. And he also felt when he went off, when he was deployed, and I heard that when Todd spoke about it, when he was deployed and he basically left, you know, let the inmates run the asylum.
Right.
And when he came back, it was gone. So I felt he was really angry at everyone and holding resentment towards everybody that was there while he was gone.
Right.
And I can understand that. You're like, I leave a thriving business, and then I leave it to you, trusting that you would take care of it the way I would, which is mistake number one.
Right.
And comes back, and it's gone to shit, excuse me, but it's gone to shit. So, and then he holds resentment. Instead of firing them, he still keeps them because he has this, you know, the loyalty towards them. But I would have fired them if that was the case and brought other people in.
Right. But he felt I get the loyalty, and it just seemed, you know, 6 weeks is such a short time, right? He was
it was like, normally deployment is a little longer with that.
Well, I just felt like it was a short time for the whole bar to disintegrate in 6 weeks.
Yeah, there had to be more to that.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah, because they would have had to actually had days closed, like just close the place and not tell anybody.
Right.
for like a week or two for them to go so down the rabbit hole.
But we seeing that crew, you see why, like, even
that
2
is
weeks
true.
with them, they would just
Because mom would let them do whatever they
wanted, and and the girl had raw potential as a bartender, but
Yeah.
Jameson had none. The chef is cooking with beer and spices that he's
Oh,
not
the
really a chef,
alligator
he's a cook.
fritters.
I didn't want any alligator fritters. Did you?
No, not at all. And at first it was like, okay, sometimes you have beer battered stuff. It's really good. Like
Yes, true.
beer battered fillet of fish,
Or beer batter fries.
beer batter fries, anything like that normally is good. And then all the spices. And then when Nick, our chef on this episode, he tried it. He's like, there's just too much going on here. And they're like, we're not changing it. This is what we're going
Yeah,
to do.
right. Yeah. We're happy to take all your other tips, but we're not.
We're happy to listen to you, but actually, F you.
Yeah.
Which I was like, wow, I think this might be the first time
That someone just flat out was
just
like, nope.
like, no.
And poor Nick was trying so hard,
I thought they were going to go at
Oh,
it.
Duffy would have gone at him.
Oh, Duffy
Because
would
Nick was
have never
good.
had.
Yeah, no, Duffy would have snapped.
Oh, yeah. Duffy would not have liked that at all. No. And it's just no matter, even the cook was like, I've cooked all these years. I've done it for 30 years. And then, boom, I don't want to listen. And then everything goes out raw. Who wants raw alligator meat?
Gets returned. Then raw again.
Exactly, you're right. And the guy's like, it was cooked a little bit more this time, but it was still raw.
Okay, so it was supposed to be 4.4 ounces, but it's 3.9. Whatever, like, fine. Okay,
He's
so
like,
you're right
"It's the
about
same."
that. Oh, my God, I'm screaming at the TV.
He's like, it's the same thing. How do you know it's the same thing? I just know. Wow. I just know.
Yeah, I just know.
Wow. I didn't know he was a psychic, too.
Yeah, oh, my God. So then they have their blowout, right? It was then John and him went at it hard. And there was a lot of yelling, and I was like, wow, this could go to that next level. I'm glad it didn't.
No, I was really happy it didn't, because I was like, I don't know what would happen, because Nick was smaller than Todd, and Todd's a Marine.
Todd's a Marine. And, it was so great because John was really trying to appeal to that. Like, I'm an admirer of, and I think John was trying to say, I know you're a Marine, so, Marie, it's Semper Fi. It's all about adapt, overcome. It's not about that. That's why they're snooty to the Army and to the Navy. Because to Marines, it's being elite. It's not just about following orders. It's about, again, improvising, adapting, overcoming. It's about all those things. That's why they're special. Semper Fi.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy did not exemplify Semper Fi.
No.
I didn't think so.
He did not, and I was like, how was he a Marine for so long with an attitude like this? Because they would not take this attitude.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the environment he was in was so controlled, and probably because they wouldn't take it.
Probably.
And by the way, I wouldn't rule out the fact that he's another one didn't like the alcohol, because he just showed signs of that. Like that's the signs of somebody who's drinking a lot, kind of a know-it-all, or very much a know-it-all, so deep in it that they don't see things clearly. And who knows? Back in his Marine days, where he looked so much younger.
I know how far, because that picture didn't look so old.
No, so he just, I don't know. He just got out of it, and like I said, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Because I looked at that picture and I was thinking, oh, that was probably like 10 years ago. And then I looked at him. I was like, that picture had to be at least 20 years.
He looked a lot older.
You can tell he's lived a life.
Yeah.
He wears it on his face.
Yes.
So, and that's, so we go into our recon.
Right.
Not our recon, our stress test. We go into our stress test.
I think they did really well. I mean, I don't want to cut right to the chase, but I mean, I just love John throwing up the white flag.
He throws up the
He
white
surrendered. It was so symbolic for a Marine to surrender.
Yeah, and, just yelling at everybody. And poor Jameson, I thought, why did he get so nervous?
Because he's a kid. He's not a bartender.
That's true.
He's a kid.
Because his girlfriend, or not girlfriend, non-girlfriend, girlfriend, she was kicking butt.
Because she had a lot of raw talent, and then, they just polished that talent, and she's a true bartender. And he may be one, but he was a baby.
Yeah, he's
supposed to be a bar back. He's supposed to be a doorman. He's supposed to be in the kitchen. He's not yet supposed to be especially at an older person's bar.
Yeah. How old do you think he was? Probably like 21, 22 tops?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was. But
for some reason, guys, I don't know. It takes the extraordinary ones. There's guys who do it and do it well, but he wasn't one of them.
No, not at all. And Peter O'Connell was really on him.
Yes.
Was like, you're not supposed to do bullet. You're supposed to be doing Dickel. All of those things. And it was interesting. And even the food was not even coming out great. The food was coming out raw, so that wasn't working. People were waiting 25 minutes for a drink. Unlike last week where they were waiting 45, they were 41 drinks behind, which I've never heard of before. But it was just bad on so many levels. Yeah. That John threw up the towel.
Yeah, throw the towel in.
And he was done with it. He was totally done with it. So that happens. Then John sends who? Kim, Todd, and Lizzie to the Dickel factory of Peter O'Connell. Yeah. Which was really cool. I was really excited about that.
Okay. Why did he do that? Was it because... Okay, so I'm trying to figure out. Is it because it was a softer episode and... I guess that's not true. That was my knee jerk. Okay, now I think of it, I know John wouldn't, in the middle of it, know whether it was a bad episode or not. I think John must have seen that as a way of inspiring him.
Well, I think so too, because I remember last season. Do you remember last season at the Black Sheep? They sent him to Guinness,
and they went to Ireland and Guinness, and it was so inspiring.
Exactly.
I mean, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to Ireland. I'm going I'm going to the Guinness factory. I mean, that is so. I think. The goal was probably where they butted heads so badly, and he kind of... By the way, the military is all about breaking you down, then building you up. And John, of course, says that. And he must do that himself with his own training of people. But breaking them down, getting rid of those bad habits, and then rebuilding them back up. And I think this was part of the building them back up process.
I agree with you on that. And because to me, was John ever in the military?
No, but he did work. Remember, he did...
He did this stuff for the Navy because to me, the way he works reminds me of someone who has been in the military.
But you know what he did was huge. When they want, for all their clubs, when they needed to hire somebody, do you know how many clubs and how many bar patrons you're talking about when you're servicing the entire Navy or the Armed Forces? I mean, that is a huge undertaking, a huge job. And for them to go to John again just speaks to his credibility.
He's just so amazing in what he does.
Well, he's got such credibility, whereas so many of these other reality experts are so puffed up. I mean, I personally know some of them, at least in the style end, and they have no experience, none. In a lot of even some of the fitness ones, none compared to, they were actors and they were personalities who happen to have that in their background. And now they've run with it and tried to catch up. But with John, he's just so legit.
Yeah, well, they have to catch up with him, actually.
Yes.
Because he knows he's invented things. He's come up with ideas that people actually use. Right. He worked with TGI Fridays, if I remember correctly, for a long time. So he's just, one of the 6 I didn't know they had a bar Hall of Fame.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, he's one of the 6 people in the Bar Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It is. And so then we go to there. They go to Dickel. I wanted it to be a little bit, to be honest with you, that part, I wanted it to be a little bit more in depth.
I bet you just nothing happened.
Yeah.
Guinness is different because they got to go to Ireland, and it's an Irish bar. And Guinness is such a cornerstone beverage of an Irish bar. To me, I feel like it was nice to reward the guy with a trip, and maybe that inspired him more. But at the same time, I just you know, it's not like they were a whiskey bar. It's not like they were a brewery and we're going to a, you know, where we're going to the Budweiser plant or whatever the case is. To me, it was like,
No, there could
it didn't have. It didn't for me. It didn't have a lot of impact.
No, it didn't at all, and I was kind of upset about that because there's so much more that they could have done with that.
Maybe, but what could they have done?
Yeah, I did like the fact that they used the apple wood. How they burned down the charcoal.
That's great.
That I like, but that was as far as it went.
Right. Well, what more could you have done with it? I mean, I don't think. I think it was a fail from the beginning. Other than it probably got his mind off of being so negative, and maybe they just were able to get rid of him for that time, so they could really make the changes they needed
and work on the people that they really wanted to work with, and get things going. Because I mean, what I really liked with this episode is they needed 2 people.
Yeah.
And they got the 2 vets. One to be the door guy.
Yes.
And then the one to be the chef.
And then military, which is great.
Yes. It's Hire a Vet, I think it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, Hire a Vet. And I didn't know that's one of Spike's charities because they said a Spike does is Hire a Vet. And I loved it. I actually got a little verklempt over that.
I did too.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this is so great. And you could see with Todd, he lit up. Because he understood it even more because he was in the military and understands coming out of the military and going into civilian life is one of the hardest things you can do because, once again, everything is so in its own place.
But by the way, what a great way, if you're John, to reach this guy.
Yes.
To show him you respect him, you know, and that's something that you knew the guy would sink his teeth into. You knew he'd be excited about. He'd feel good about doing.
Yeah.
It just really was a really smart play.
It was so
beyond
smart.
a charitable one.
Yeah, and then they go into doing all this, and everybody came together a little bit more this time, which I really liked.
Well, I still say the bar wasn't that bad off. It really was the people that needed to be fixed more than the bar.
Yes.
I felt like.
Yeah, and I mean
it was plain, Jane. It was plain, the bar. It was very plain.
But it could have, we've seen worse.
Oh, I mean,
we have seen
like,
much worse.
Much worse.
So now, I liked what John said when he was talking
Can I ask
about
you something?
Yes.
What was the worst that we've seen aesthetically?
Aesthetic. Oh, the game one. Do you remember the one in Chicago where it was all children's games? It was kind of creepy.
Amazing. Oh my. You know what? We don't talk about them enough.
No, we don't. And because actually we started doing this right after that.
Okay, so to me, the creative on the game. So aesthetically, I remember the games were weird.
All over.
Yes, but if you and I went in and took those games down, the bar would have looked okay.
Yes.
So the strange factor, definitely. Yeah. But again, now we get into that. If we get into Bar Rescue superlatives, nothing, of course, stranger than Pirates Bar. But effing Cockroach Bar.
Yes, that one was the worst.
That guy, he should have had fangs. I'm telling you, and a cloak. He was a vampire.
And here's the thing. I mean, I'm surprised no one got tetanus there because if you cut yourself there, it was so gross.
So bad.
And so nasty.
Yep.
Oh, and the bikini bar too. That was pretty gross.
Bikini bar wasn't so good. Yeah.
No, because remember he lifted up the thing. There was like rotted wood, and you could see. I was like, wow. Yeah, and then those girls were walking around in bikinis.
I mean, I didn't want to get off the subject, but I last week's. I wasn't in, but I know an Italian brother and sister in the business, and it was watching it all over again. I was yelling at the TV, and I was so sad that I couldn't be part of the show.
I know.
But I did get choked up at the end of that one.
Yeah,
you know,
and I liked the picture that they put up with the family right up. It was, and the way we did our show last week was very off topic of what we normally do because we don't normally have both experts call in and then both owners were on the show, on the call, and then everyone actually got on the call together, which was pretty amazing because it was like a reunion show in its own way.
Right.
And they got to talk and you could really hear how they felt about Duffy and Russell. And these owners really cared about what happened. And once again, proving a point for people who want to call in and badmouth the show to people who just love the show and it helped their family. It helped them and their businesses too.
Help.
Exactly.
My favorite word, free. And you know, it's insanity, and that anyone, even if the whole thing's a scam, but you walk out with $250,000 to $500,000, even $1 million worth of equipment, product, consultation. You know, I'm sorry, I'm going along. I'm totally going along with it. Yeah, it was, and I'm not gonna, cry out against the show or against John, but again, that's the caliber of people.
And it goes to show you, because even when it came down to this show and he asked him click, because it was spelt in the female version.
Yes.
And
yes.
And he asked, why did you pick click? Because it is that way. And he goes, I don't know. Like, everything for my 3 companies that I have, each one is, there's a reason behind each one. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a reason behind the name that you pick when you pick, and everything. And he's like, I don't know. And when I was thinking the whole time when he said that, I was like, wait a second. In directions, when people are like, I go 2 clicks this way or 3 clicks this way, I was like, why don't they do something in that frame? That would make more sense. Right. Then leads us into, our reveal, and it became 22 clicks. I was like, see, that makes sense. So
makes sense. Just, and leave it to John. He just really smart, creative, and totally makes sense. And yeah, I don't, so much, I think, is downplayed about aesthetics, and so many people don't think things out, and they don't think out their names, they don't think out their colors, they don't think out uniforms, they don't think out decor, and they don't recognize, if they don't have the talent, they don't committee to other people. There's so many people who have good eyes. I mean, we have, I say to these guys here all the time, you know what? You have 200 hosts who have great opinions, great eyes. Get their eyes on some of this stuff if I'm not around. Yeah. But I see, it's funny, if you know anything about Steve Jobs, same thing. He was all about the aesthetic. That's why if you look at the look of some of those computers when he brought the company back, remember they would be like aqua or teal green in the shell.
And eye-catching. That would be the first thing people would notice.
Mm-hmm. He was all about that. He was all about that. And the fact that just so many people ignored that. And you're right, like click, so I don't know.
I don't know.
My God.
Wow. I'm gonna name my business something that I want to do for the rest of my life. Something that's like ish.
I'm gonna name it the Brixton. Hey, Marissa, just to be irreverent, because by the way, I like this episode, not one of my favorites, because the trip there, it was just, I don't know. I wish there were more. It's not one of my favorite episodes, certainly not a bad one. But Marissa, could you please call the Pirates Bar for me?
Sure. Let me try that.
Thank you very much. I want to see what's up with them. Just randomly in the middle of
I have to tell you, I still love them.
They're amazing.
Still love them.
You know what? I said I want One-Eye Pete working here. He'd be amazing. And he broke my heart because he was special.
Well, how about them putting in the clip from the Pirates Bar?
Loved it. I was so happy. I'm like, wow, they acknowledged it without us having to do it.
I know. I mean, we were 10 seconds in, and we didn't even really have to say anything, but Pirates.
Came up so happy. Yeah, rivaling characters. Characters was hilarious.
And I have to tell you, Pirates had better costumes.
Of course.
They had better because they were authentic.
No, when they came to being pirates, they were pirates.
No, they lived it.
Yeah,
Talk about method.
Full commitment. But sometimes in life, there's people that if they're fully committed, whether it's to their madness, whatever it is, if it's not to criminal activity, if they're fully committed to it, I really admire them.
I do. I have so much respect for people like that.
Who are fully committed. Like, you know what? They're totally drinking the Kool-Aid. Good for them.
Exactly. Because you want to know something? They'll stay loyal.
Yeah.
They'll stay loyal to the path, and they'll keep going.
They'll keep going. And you know what? I admire that, because I see so many people in life are half committed to their relationships, their everything, their jobs, and they get half results. That's why they're miserable. But anyway, Pirate Lady. Yeah, I still would. I want to meet One-Eyed Pete. I want to get One-Eyed Pete in studio. I want to hire One-Eyed Pete. Her, not so much.
No, because then she would turn this into a pirate ship.
Yeah, this would turn into we always nicknamed it the pirate ship, but
It would really be one.
it would turn into one. Yeah.
But you go into all the episodes that John has done, and there was good moments in this episode, and
Absolutely.
there was great moments. As I had said to you, I think before we came on, I honestly loved watching Jameson and Lizzie. The two. And it was the first time I've ever seen, as you said, the two people.
A side-by-side interview.
Yes.
And just for a funny cutaway, it was great.
Yeah, and I can imagine they are probably hysterical to watch.
Yeah, I would think.
I don't know if it's so hysterical for Jameson because she really gets on him.
No, he
seems to love it.
Yeah, but he's a prankster to her. He was like, no, he was dogging her.
Yeah, he was, but it was funny. They were funny to watch. But the episode was great. They changed the name. They had, I liked the pictures on the wall.
Yes, that was great.
And then I liked the picture in back of the bar of him when he was younger.
Yes.
I liked the tank.
Awesome.
Coming out, and I like John's sense of humor. We don't get to see John's sense of humor every so often, so he's like, "You should see what's behind the wall," and he goes, "I'm just kidding."
Yeah,
So that was cool, and I appreciated that for the way the episode went. I think John just wanted to do something for the vets.
Yes.
And so this was a perfect episode.
And the menu items were great.
Yeah. Oh, the corn fritter or the grit fritters.
Yeah, were great.
I like the yes. I was like, I want some because I love grits. I love cheesy grits.
Wow.
Yes.
So I tried calling them. No such luck. It goes to voicemail.
Okay, but does it say the bar still open?
Yeah, Pirates Tavern is still open. Yay.
Yes, that is one bar I want to stay open
like
no matter what.
And it's just madness. It's such madness because how many bars John made amazing that are closed, and those knuckleheads have found a way to survive.
I actually had someone Facebook IM me yesterday and said, are they going to do a not a wrap up, but a reunion. I really hope they do.
They will, because it's just inevitable.
So many people want to know what happened to these bars.
Yeah, we want to know.
know?
But by the way, will they go there? I don't know, because John was at his wit's end with them.
Yeah, well, they did burn him in effigy.
Oh my God!
Remember that?
Maniacs. By the way, so they're in Washington.
Yeah, they're in Maryland. And then, you know what, though? Remember that other bar? That bar, remember J.A. Murphy's? That was in bad shape.
Bad shape.
Do you remember they had to close? That one took 10 days to do because it was going to be condemned.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might be the worst one.
That was probably the worst one.
No, I think Cockroaches is still the worst.
No, the worst.
The worst.
The worst. And he's in the Hall of Shame, that one. Oh, my God.
I mean, we've had some interesting owners to really think,
I know, and, if I'm producing the show, fine. We should probably have the the better ones, like the horse bar.
Yeah, I love that episode.
But I love my wackadoodles too. I have to tell you, they make great TV. They really do. Even as shame on him, but even All In still made for. Oh my God! Yeah, yeah, he was great. He was. I mean, I could not help it for what we were saying it for a couple days. All in. I'm still saying it. Yeah, we're still exactly. Brandon. Oh God. Oh, yeah. That episode still makes me upset. Yeah, sad. Yes. It made me very sad because I could see like those people. It was their life, and they were so sad about. But they were sad about the name change, but they embraced it, and it was just, and for the plug to get pulled, yeah. And I didn't like the fact that they didn't try to let it. Just try. Just try. Who knows? But who knows? He might have been so deep in debt, and again, who knows if it was drinking and things like that involved? Who knows? But anyway, this has a nice ending. It's got a great new name. Decorated great, and did you see it was like 50%? I know. Increase? This was my favorite one for like the 4 weeks after, 6 weeks after. 50%. I think this is the highest one we've seen, right? Yeah. Because normally it's 20 to 30%. Right.
So I think this is one of the highest, which is really cool. So it was good to see that they're doing great again. So then he'll pay off his $140,000 really soon then, which will be really good.
I think so too. And I think that
There's something going on between him and Kim, by the way.
Oh, or I think pass for sure.
Something, because you see when the reveal happened,
right?
He got very like touchy feely, like but in a good, like grabbed her face or whatever, and then she kind of pulled away. I was like,
oh, you're right. Something that they didn't want anyone to see.
Yeah, I'm a girl. I see those things.
Yeah, good. That's a great catch.
Those things. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Didn't want anyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I wasn't able to see the preview for next week.
No, I didn't either. I didn't see. Yeah.
We know it's going to be amazing, but we're running out of time.
Yeah, we got 3 episodes left. We got 18, 19, 20, and then we're done. And then we don't come back till October, I think, right? Or no, not even.
Is it longer?
Maybe October.
I really want to see us do. I think Kitchen Nightmares has so many seasons. I don't know why we can't go that far with this.
I know. Did you know that Kitchen Nightmares did a show on a restaurant here in LA, and we had met the owner, and they did a 2-part episode on this restaurant. It was so bad, and it wound up closing. It was called Go Burger, I think it was.
Oh, okay. I remember the French one they did here.
Yeah, and it was on 3rd. Now it's now it's a Japanese place, which is really good, and Robata, and I couldn't believe it. The guy sat down with us and started telling us all about it. And I could not believe they did 2 episodes. And honestly, a week after the last episode, it closed.
No.
Yes, a week after. So I would love to go to some of these places or anywhere near us. And just to go and hang out and just to see if they're holding true to what John has done or not.
I just need FU money.
I know.
I swear to God, if I had FU money, I'd buy a van. I would swag it with the Bar Rescue logo. And I would bar hop to all of these around the country.
I would love to do that, to do a bar rescue
That's
tour.
What I mean. I need FU money.
Hi, Spike.
Yeah.
Spike.
That's a great special. You know what? No.
Us.
Excuse Spike, listen. You can have Maria as host.
There you go. That would be amazing.
Driving in the Bar Rescue van, and we go from location to location.
That would be a heck of a reality show, actually.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
Who? Chris Hardwick? Who? What?
Yeah. Let Maria do it.
It would be so much fun.
Yeah,
I would actually take time off a life to just go do that.
Just to go do it. That's why I said I need FU money.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if it's on TV. I just want to go do it.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is our cue, guys.
Yeah.
But we will be back next week, and then we'll have just a few more weeks left. And thanks, guys.
Hey, by the way, but you know what, Dorinda? I want to ask you, have you checked out the Clicks Facebook page or anything like that?
No, I did not go and I feel awful. I should have went and did that today. I did not.
We'll get a look.
So yeah, we'll get a look, and I'll get more information for next week for everybody, for sure.
All right. To One-Eyed Pete, the vampire from the Cockroach Bar. Yeah, we raise our mugs.
We raise our glasses to you, One-Eyed Pete.
All of you.
All the pirates.
And I do think we should do on, I think on the final episode, we should probably do superlatives.
Okay.
I think we should. We should do Bar Rescue superlatives for up till now.
Okay.
Anyway, how do I find you, Dorinda?
Oh, you can find me at Lula Cherry Films on Twitter.
Very nice. I'm at Undergaro. Marissa, where do we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
At Serafini TV. And Marissa, you know, Phil still got you watching your weekly dose of Bar Rescue, correct?
Of course.
Good girl.
Oh, and Phil went
That's
out
our
with
staff
Russell
show
Davis.
Oh, that's right. My God. Well, Phil will talk about it next week.
Yeah,
So
we'll talk about it next week.
Phil was up in San Francisco, and he went
I was
up.
supposed to be going up there to hang out with Russell, and Phil got to do it first.
And he got to see the bar, his new club, and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. We'll go over that next week.
Okay, perfect. I'm so excited.
Bye, you guys.
Bye,
From
guys.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Gator.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.